Okay, we should have the recording ongoing. Perfect. French. I hope it's a different. I hope it's a different recording. I don't know what's going on. I can see 1 hour. Okay. Up. Okay, let's start. So good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to see a quick presentation on the project module. We just finished the training in French. Today, now it's a session in English. This training will be recorded and we will put the recording online on YouTube, and we will share it again with all the participants. So don't worry if you have another meeting or if you have problems of connection, internet connection, electricity, you will be able to revisualize the recording later. The session today will be split in two parts. One will be more theoretical and about the process itself, and another part will be on the project module directly, on the theoretical aspects of the project module, as well as a little demo directly on the platform. So we will see in terms of process the HPC 2023 with the reminder on the steps, the tools, the project module for who and for what, the important remarks on the project module, the timeline. We will also see the different prerequisites for the project module, the good practices, recommendations, how to create and submit a project, how to search for a project, edit a project, clone a project, all the information required for a project, as well as the validation steps. So as a reminder, I believe many of you already know this diagram. The project module is within the phase of the strategic planning. We just finished the needs assessment and analysis phase. Right now we are in the strategic planning, and soon we will have the resource mobilization and then the implementation and monitoring of the cycle until the end of the next cycle, where we will have to review what we have done to prepare the new needs analysis for next year. So within the step of the strategic planning, one of the steps within this main step of the process is the project submission by all the partners to allow the humanitarian community to get an idea of the amount for the HRP. As a reminder, we have many tools which support the different HPC steps. Probably few of you already know some tools like Humanitarian Insights or RPM or the project module or FTS. All these tools support the HPC in different phases of the cycle. For instance, RPM allows us to prepare the planning and monitoring, the response planning, and to do during the year the monitoring. And the project module allows us to prepare the strategy and the planification. And FTS allows us to have the monitoring of the funding during the year and to do the financial tracking. The project module for who and for what? The project module allows us to centralize all the projects in the same place. We could use a simple sheet of paper. We could use an Excel file to be sent to all the sector, etc. The added value of the project module is to centralize in one database online with a simple interface that allow any organization across the world to submit their project for the HRP in their country. You have to see the project module as a coordination tool for OCHA and for the sector and cluster. The project module represents a kind of basket of projects to meet the needs of vulnerable people. All the projects submitted and validated within this tool will provide an estimate of cost for the response, which will be the HRP cost. There is a link between the project and FTS. FTS is a platform to monitor the funding. So all the projects which are submitted and validated for the HRP will be sent within the FTS platform for further funding monitoring during the year and during the implementation phase of the project. Each partner entered his or her projects. Each sector is in charge of validating or rejecting the project according to predefined criteria. The criteria could be the sectoral strategy, areas of intervention, activities, targeting, etc. Few important remarks regarding the project module. The project module does not replace a project proposal. The project module will be where you will submit the project for quick coordination and a quick estimation of the HRP. Your proposal to a donor will be an entire document with the entire description of the project, and it will be the most accurate document for your project. The project module is not a replication, it's more a kind of summary of what you plan to submit to the donor. Participating in the process does not guarantee that you will be funded. This is very important because often we can hear people that they participate to the process and they think that will automatically be funded and they will get money. It's not the case. It's not the case, but in case of common advocacy, for instance, made by OCHA or made by your sector, usually, we try to push for all the projects that has been submitted and validated within the HRP to be prioritized for funding. Each partner remains responsible for approaching donors for the financing of their project. So even if we have common advocacy that could be done, when you submit your project, it will be your own responsibility to go the different donors and to get funding for your project. Each sector is free to set up its own rules and validation criteria. We request all the sector to set a list of criteria for validation to avoid any confusion or to avoid problems in the determination of which project to validate or to reject. So this is up to the sector to decide what will be their validation criteria. A project already funded and which will be implemented in 2023 must be submitted to better reflect the level of funding. Do not forget to apply a budget breakdown for the year 2023. As an example, if you have a project which started in September, 2 months ago, and the project will last until June 2023. For the HRP 2023, you should submit this project, even if this project is already funded, and you will have to put not the entire budget for the project because you have one part of the project which is during the 2022 cycle, like September, October, November, December, and another part of the project, January to June, will be for the 2023 cycle. So it will be necessary to submit, even if your project is already submitted, in order to be able to track the funding in 2023 regarding the project and the funding ongoing. Before the Q&A, in terms of timeline, today we have the training. as of tomorrow, we should have all the sector frameworks that should be finalized and saved in the system with the objectives, indicators, activities, and all the target and areas of intervention. Once we have all these frameworks in online, we will be able to communicate to you and to the different sectors in order to allows you to submit all your project in the system. This phase of project submission should last around 1 month, but during this 1 month period, so until mid December, you will also have the period and the time to be dedicated for the project review by the sector and the group of sector to validate their project, as well as the review and validation. So usually in terms of timeline, you submit the project, then you have a group of validation or focal point within the sector who are in charge to validate their project. And if the projects are not correct, they could be resent to the partner to be reviewed. So all this time of 1 month is to take into account the project submission plus review plus modification and final validation. So it means don't wait the last minute to submit your project. Start as soon as possible. Follow up with your sectors, and you will get communication with your different sectors, I guess, because the sectors will be responsible to validate and they will use their own timeline. The timeline here regarding the mid-December to be validated by the HC, this one is fixed by the HCT and OCHA. But during the process of project submission, the deadline will be fixed by your sector and cluster focal points. So mid-December, we will get, we hope, the HC validation for the list of projects that will validate the final amount for the HRP 2023. Then in December, January, OCHA will finalize the different documents, HNO and HRP. And we'll do the editing of the documents with the visualization, graphics, figures, maps, pictures, the usual documents that you know that we share every year. And we hope by January, end of January, we will have the HRP launch for 2023. Before going further with the project module in terms of content, do you have any question regarding the process itself? I'll let you a few seconds to raise your hand or write a question in the chat. We have Charles. So Charles, just give me 2 seconds to allow you to take autoriser le micro. Okay. Charles, I think you can open your mic and ask your question.
Judy.
Charles? Okay, I think we don't hear you. No problem. You try to fix your problem, and you will be able to come back to the second session of Q&A at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to stop again the mic, and we will proceed with the second part of the presentation. Or you can also write your question down in the chat. Okay, so regarding the project module, To be able to use a project module, we distinguish two things on the process and technical. So first, you need to participate to the different coordination mechanism. You need to participate in a sector or cluster meeting. Your project or your proposal should respond to the humanitarian needs and the sector strategy. So this is for the process. In terms of technical aspects, you need to have a computer with an internet connection, and you need to create a HID account, a humanitarian ID account. We will try to put that on in the chat if we can. Otherwise, you will be able to get this link in the communication that OCHA will prepare through the different sectors. Here we have a few good practices and recommendations. Try to stay in contact with your sector group through the process all year round. It's better to be in permanent contact and to participate to the different meeting. To keep informed about the different sector strategy ongoing, about where you are in the process, to learn about the different emergency ongoing, etc. Do not wait until the last day to submit your project. So even if we say that the project submission will last until mid-December, don't wait mid-December to submit your project. You may face some technical issues. The platform may be very slow because many people wait the last minute. You may um, sorry, j'ai oublié le mot. You may forget about the deadline, and you may miss the deadline, and your project may not be taken into account with your sector. Try to report all bugs to OCHA, and then we will try to fix the technical issues with the development team in HQ. Don't contact OCHA for each single problem that you have. Try maybe to disconnect from internet or reconnect to the platform, restart your computer. All these kind of steps could maybe fix your problem. But even if you try that and you still face some technical issues, please contact OCHA and we will try to support you. Respect the entry steps within the project module interface. So go through the different steps one by one. Try to feed the form with all important information and mandatory field. Another remark is the amount of budget is in US dollar, not in CFA. So try to use a converter. No need to be precise. You can use the current exchange rate, the one of the day or the one that you know from last month. It doesn't really matter. What we need to know is the estimation of the HRP. This amount doesn't have to be exactly the same amount that will be for your proposal, because often when we submit proposal according to the donors, of course we face some exchange rate that may change the final amount. Something new in the platform for this year, you can clone a project that you had submitted in 2022. We will see that a little bit later. Separate your project according to the status of displacement. For instance, a project that concerns refugees and another group of population, for instance, refugees and IDPs returnees, will need to be split in two different projects. One project will be for the refugee response, refugees plus the host community, and another project will be for the different sectors and will respond to the needs of IDPs, returnees, host community, or other group of population. Here I have several screenshots for the project module. So when you log in, if you try to give you this. No, it doesn't work for me. No, I cannot give you. I wanted to put that in the chat. Unfortunately, I can't. No, it doesn't work. So you have two websites. The first one, the project.hpc.tools, is the production version of the project module, and the demo website will be the website where you can train yourself, and it will be the website that I'm going to use after my presentation to do a quick demo and to fill in some information and to play with the interface. For the login, as I said, you need to create a HID account. For your first connection, you will have to allow or deny, to allow the connection. So allow will mean that HID will be able to connect to the project module with your account. Once you are connected to the project module, you should see your user account appearing on the top right corner of your window. The interface here show you how to create a new project. So basically you have a few buttons on the top where you can create a new project. If your session is empty because it's the first time that you connect or you never submit a project before, you should get also a big button of new projects in the middle of your screen. Sometimes you will get something like that. In the case where you have already submitted project or you will already saved your project, you should get the list in the middle of the screen. On the left panel, you will have the button and interface to filter and to research a project that we will see just after that. So to look for a project, you can select My Project button to access to all your projects that are saved and linked to your account. Viviane, I can see that there is a problem. The screen is not moving. Can any see once the change? Okay, so thank you, Vivian. That means it's working for you. So maybe it's linked to shard to your internet connection or to maybe delay. You might get the interface in a few seconds. Sorry about that, but don't worry. The recording will be okay. So my projects for your current, all the projects saved and linked to your account, my organization in country project, that will be all the project linked to your organization that has been maybe submitted or saved by your colleagues or by your colleagues. You can also use the filter button on the top left to research a project based on several things like the year of the project, the response plan, the sector, the organization, and you can also use the project code. Here, sorry, I'm going to drink. The project code. Each project which is created in the system will get a unique code. The code is composed of the country code. For Cameroon is a CMR, the year of the HRP 23, the sector code. In my case, in my example here, it's a CSS for coordination and support services. A sequence number is an automatic number which is given by the system. It's a 6-digit numbers. Sorry, 6-digit figures, and you have the version of your project. So when you create the project, you will get the version 1. When you modify, you will get version 2, etc., etc. And when you look for a project based on the code. You don't need to take everything. You just need to save the 6 digits. It will be enough to find again your project. To edit a project, so in the case where you already click on a new project, you save the project, then you come back 1 or 2 days later to finalize your project, you can edit it. So once you connect to the interface, you should get the list of projects and you will be able to have an edit button that will allows you to move to the content and to modify the content of the project. Something new I said before, there is a new button from this year, which is a clone button. You can clone, I think, the project that you are the owner, or maybe all the projects that has been saved by your colleagues in your organization. This is something I'm not sure. You have to check, but keep in mind that it's possible to replicate a project. The only things you will have to modify will be the list of activities, the targets, and the budget. All information will remain the same. Sorry. So the information and data needed to fill in the form for the project, you will have some general information like the title, the description, the date, the owner organization, the implementing partners, the contacts, the response plan attachment like Cameroon HRP 2023. The list of location where you will have the list of admin 1, so the region in the country, as well as admin 2 and health districts. So something about the admin 2, we will see on the interface that you can work either on the list of division department, admin 2, or either on the health district. I think health and nutrition used to work with the health district, while all other sector should work with the admin 2. You have to select the different sectors that apply to your project. So it could be one sector or multi-sector. You will have to select the list of activities. So the project module is linked to the different sector framework. And for each sector, you have a list of activities and a list of targets where you can align your project to the framework from the sector. Then the budget, you can put the global amount of the project in US dollar. So don't forget the budget according to the current year, so 2023 planning. Use a quick breakdown, activity, support, admin, logistics, etc. You don't need to have the entire budget like you have in your real proposal to the donor. Something quick allows the sector and the group of people to be able to validate and to see the real cost of the project and the final amounts that will go to the assistance. In case of multi-sector projects, you can use the breakdown of the budget to specify which amount to go to which sector and what is the percentage of repartition between the different sectors. There will be extra information for the project module like cash transfer and like gender marker. On gender marker, we have additional information to give you. I'm going to give the presentation to Viviane, my colleague from OCHA. Viviane, are you here?
Yes, good afternoon, colleagues. I'm Bibiane. I'm Bibiane Mange, Public Information Officer at OCHA and also Gender Focal Point. We found it useful to remind you of the importance of the use of the gender with age marker GAM, and there is in the project module a request for a number, a GAM code, and a GAM project number. So Remy, in the following, just after me in his presentation, he will show you how to navigate in the GAM website. But what is the GAM? The gender with age marker is a tool that will help you to respond to gender, age, and disability related difference in the implementation and the design of your program and project. The objective is to reflect and to learn how you can, first of all, have a deep analysis on how to take into account the gender in your project, and also it will help you during your monitoring phase to see if the results you are providing are really taking into consideration gender, how you report on gender, on age, and on disability differences, and how you address all these groups of range, or this range of people in your criteria. In the tool Remy will present to you, you will see many questions in 10 programming action, and all of the questions are around the gender, the age, and the disability. How do you take it into account in your project? Slide. Okay, when you go to the link provided in the project module, you will see this first page where you will be requested to click to access the GAM interface. Slide. And then you will have the choice between test and this is the actual project. We advise to use the test first so that you can see which kind of question are requested to answer, and the person who is going to fill the project module can collect all the information to his colleagues before he start filling the project module. So there are some analysis question on the gender in the area where you are going to implement your project that should be filled, and if the person who is putting the project in the module doesn't have this information, he will not be able to have the GAM number. So you can go to the test to collect all the questions so that you will have all the answer with you when you actually go to the project proposal. At the end of the module, you will have a number. Slide. The number will reflect the gender with age marker coding. So there is a coding definition from 1 to 4. If you have 1, or if you have, you can even have 0. If you have 0 or 1, it means that your project does not respond to the differences based on gender, age, or disability. You have the possibility to refill the module so that you can have a better score. This is not affecting. It is not affecting the choice of your project in the HPC process, but it is important for you to know if your project is respecting the gender consideration. So this is, you can see here all the code definition from 1 to 4 4 being when you contribute to gender equality, including across age groups. Slide. So in conclusion, we wanted to remind you that the GAM is not used to judge your project, as we were saying, or to decide whether they should be selected or funded. But it's a tool that you can use, first of all, for your own analysis in the designing of your project. But after, you can use it also for the monitoring of your project and to see if you have taken into consideration different gender, different age groups you have identified for assistance. Also, we wanted to remind you to use Chrome or Firefox when you want to open the GAM, because it doesn't work in Internet Explorer. We remain available for any questions at the end of this session. Thank you. Remy, over to you.
Thank you, Viviane. Thank you very much. So this was to conclude the information needed within the project module. Just before the demo, I'm going to come back to the different validation steps of a project. So when you create a project at the beginning, the project is not submitted. Then once you are happy with your project and you finalize all the elements that are needed for the project, you can submit the project for validation to your sector and group of validation. At this moment, the project will be under review. When a project is under review by the committee who is dealing with the validation of project, they have three options. They can either, one, reject the project. So usually they do that when the project is not at all linked and aligned with the strategy, or when the project is not accurate enough or it doesn't respond at all to the humanitarian needs. They can directly approve the project, or they can return for edit. In the case of return for edit, that means the project is not accurate enough. They need maybe some modification regarding the targets or the area of intervention or on the budget. So the group of validation could resend the project to the project owner for modification. And then the project owner can modify and resubmit the project until the group of validation will validate it. So you could have several rounds of return for edit, modifying, under review, return for edit, etc. And once the project is finally okay, it's approved by the cluster. And once all the projects are approved, so let's say it should be around mid December, we will make the list of projects validated by the HC, and then we will have all the projects which will be accepted, and all these projects will be reflected within FTS to start the funding monitoring for 2023. There is a special case of multi-sectoral project. A multi-sector project must be validated by all the sectors. If one of the sector rejects the project, in such case, the budgets need probably to be reviewed by the project owner and by the organization. If you submitted a project for health and nutrition of $100,000 and nutrition say, no, this project is not aligned with my strategy, probably you will have to review the project to review the budget on the health component only. It is important for the partners and the sector lead to keep in touch together. For the partner, try to check the status of your project and to see if your project become validated, rejected, or if you need to review it. We will see with the interface how you can do that. And for the sector lead, it will be important to inform the partners via the normal communication channel through the phone, email, or meeting about the different steps for the project review. We will see on the demo that you have a tool that allows you to share comments directly within the platform. So it's good to use it to put some comments for the project committee who reviews the project to give some feedbacks and few comments to the partner. It's also good for the partner to submit some comments if they need to specify something for the project. In any case, try to use regular communication since these tools are integrated in the normal tool, but unfortunately there is no alert to be set up by email. So if the sector puts some comments and the partner doesn't connect to see the project of the status of the project, sorry, it will be it will not get the news and maybe he will miss the deadline to submit and modify the project. We will move now to directly to the demo and the interface. So I can put you here in the chat the link to access the platform. So it will be the same link than last year. So the first link is the production server. So it will be the one that you will have to use with your real project submission. And the second link is the demo version, the one that I'm going to use to play and to show you the interface. And it's the one that you can also use yourself if you want to play with some and do some tests before moving to the production server. You can see the difference between the production and demo with the red text on the top left of the screen. On the demo website, you will get the demo test site, which is very which is displayed here, while on the production there is nothing displayed. So here I'm already connected. You can see I have my my account, which is displayed on the top right. If I want to create a new project, I can click on new project and I will get a new form that I have to fill in with all the all the field which are with red mark that are mandatory, those are optional. I will move to I cannot resubmit, sorry. I just need to do something quickly here to change, just to avoid to lose time on I edit that. It's not submitted. Submit. What's going on? 2023, it's here. Sorry, something is happening. I don't know what. Let's come back here then and refresh the page. Ah, et voilà. C'était un bug. OK. So I have the possibility either to create a new project from scratch, or you can also edit a project or clone a project that you already saved. So in the case where you have the same project from last year and it will be the same for next year, you can decide to clone your project. But in the case where you already create a new project and you save it and you just need to modify it, you can edit the project. And it's exactly what we are going to do here because some data are already filled in. So the field that you need to fill in will be the name of the project. So sorry, I don't know. Let's move to English. Since we are in the English section, it will be better. You will have to provide the project name, the project summary. The project summary is limited to 4,000 characters. In case where you take your project summary from an existing proposal to the donor, but your existing proposal is bigger than 4,000 characters, don't spend too much time to redo a summary of your summary. I think if the main information are already part of the first part of the summary, it should be enough to give an idea of what is your project. In case where you are very precise and most of the information are cut, maybe in that case you can rephrase your existing text, but I guess 4,000 characters should be enough to get a quick paragraph where you just need to do a copy paste without rephrasing everything. You need to select the date. By default, you can use 1st January to 31st December 2023. If you want to modify and if you know that your project will start only in, for instance, in June, you can select the 1st of June and you modify the date manually. Tags, it's not something that we're going to use this year. It was used 2 years ago for the COVID. We don't have any tags for this year, so you can leave this field blank. Organization, by default, the system is going to show your organization because it's going to get the organization through your username. Your username coming from HID, you must select within HID what is your organization. So by default, the system will be able to get your organization and you just need to select it here. People from the first session, this afternoon, the French session, ask what we do in case of consortium. So in the case of consortium, just leave the lead of the consortium to submit the project. There is no need to submit 2, 3, or 4 versions of the project. Only one will be enough. And here you can select additional organization. For instance, if we have a project with IOM, I can select the different organizations which take part of the consortium. You can here put the implementing partner. So you can put the text for the implementing partner. You can put your contact with name, email, phone number. Don't forget to add additional contact in case where you are not the only one to take care of the project, and in case if you will be on leave or if you will be in a mission in the coming weeks, just to facilitate the communication between the sector and you if they need to have some feedbacks about the project. Then once you fill in everything, you can save and move to the next part, which will be the response plan. So within the response plan, you can select the Cameroon Humanitarian Response Plan 2023. For this plan, you have the possibility to select one or several sectors. Here, in my example, I'm going to take something like let's do, I think, education and nutrition. I know that their framework are online already. Here you have a box which is optional. There is no red star. This one is optional. You can use it to describe the needs and the activities and implementing of your the implementing details of your project. You can also use this box in case where you have many information to describe your project and you have maybe several paragraphs, and one paragraph is very introduction of the project and another paragraph is about more about the content. So instead of putting everything in basic info, if you have a limitation of 4,000 characters, you can still use this box to put the paragraph that will be aligned with the description of the needs and the description of the activities of the project. Then you have the point 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, which ask you to provide the percentage of the project for each crisis. For instance, we request the percentage of the project that responds to the Lake Chad Basin crisis, the percentage of the project responding to the Northwest-Southwest crisis, the percentage of the project responding to the car refugee crisis, and the percentage of the project that respond to the other crisis in the country. You don't need to be accurate. It could be a rough estimation. Usually you will get something like 50-50, 40-60, 25-25. It could be also split between the three crises. So it could be 33, 33, 33. Just give a rough estimation regarding the repartition for the project that respond to different parts of the country. I think last year you had to submit one project for each crisis. This year, we want to avoid duplication of everything. It's more complex to deal with many projects, so it's better to have one project and to deal with the content of the project. So in that case, you just need to select to which crisis project will respond. You can also have 100% in case where you have a project in Norway Southwest only. You put 0, 0, 0, and 100% for the Norway Southwest. Why do we ask that? We ask this information for two purposes. The purpose to have an estimation of cost for each crisis, and because we have an estimation of cost to request for each crisis, is also allow us to do analysis during the year for the funding, to make the same analysis and to have an idea of what will be the repartition of funding for each crisis. It will not be accurate, but it allows us to have a rough estimation and avoid so many back and forth with the partners and the sectors to know exactly what will be the amount. Sometimes we need to have a quick analysis to know the level of funding for each crisis. So this information will allow us to have this estimation. Another information which is requested will be the cash and voucher assistance. So if your project includes cash and voucher assistance, you can check the box, and then you have two fields to fill in. They ask you to estimate the percentage of requirements to be used on the cash transfer and for voucher. So that would be a percentage. Sorry, I missed something for 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Make sure that the sum of the percentage is equal to 100%. While here, it's an estimation of the budget. So you could have assistance in nature, in kind, an assistance in using cash, and assistance using voucher. So since we don't have the repartition for in kind, you don't need to have a percentage which will give 100%. It's just an estimation regarding the entire budget, what will be the proportion for cash transfer and what will be the proportion for voucher. Here we have the gender with age marker, the presentation that Viviane gave us 10 minutes ago. It's here where you can click on the interface. Oops, sorry, this is the French version, so click here. When you will click here, you will get the form to fill in. Up. And when you fill in your form, you have several fields to fill in, and it's from this form that you will manage to get your gender marker according to the different answer that you give to this form. So the two forms are not linked automatically. It's more a link to be clicked to get access to an empty form where you fill in the information. And once you finish, you have a result display, and you just need to put your results with this list and to copy paste the GAM reference number that you receive to this box. So usually it's I think it's a 13 digit or 15 digits, and yeah, it's a 15 digits reference number. Localization, we will ask you what would be the percentage, the estimated percentage for the project requirements that will be channeled to local and national responder. So again, you don't need to be 100% precise, just give a rough estimation that will allow us to do some analysis, especially it will be needed for the localization working group that is working on this kind of thematic. Once you are happy with your answer, you can move to the next part, which will be the locations. So you can select the different region where you want to implement your project. So for instance, Northwest and Southwest, and for each region that you select, you will get the list of division, admin 2, and health districts. Unfortunately, the system doesn't allow us to provide the possibility to have either admin or either health district. Both level are merged into the same second level, so below the admin 1. If you want to identify what are the admin division and what are the health districts have a prefix of DS for district sanitaire. So all names starting with DS underscore, that means it's a district sanitaire, it's a health district, while all other name will be divisions, département, admin 2. Why we have that? Because often nutrition and health work with health district, while the other sector work with the admin 2 level. So we need to be flexible and to provide the possibility for both for all the sector to be aligned with their framework. Once you select your areas of intervention and location, you can save and move to the sector and activities. So basically, if you remember in the previous section, I selected nutrition and education. So once you arrive to this step, you have to. So in my case, I selected 2 different sectors. If you have only one, you will have only one. But if you have 2, you have to make sure to go through both or to all the sectors that you selected. And for each sector, you will get the list of activities. I don't know if we can do that. Yes, hope. So you have the list of activities, and for each activities that you select and each activities that will be implemented within your project, you can select them. And for each activity, you can also select the indicators that you are going to feed with your activity. For instance, here, construction of school and training infrastructure, classroom, latrine, water point, temporary learning space. And here, if my project is about building new classroom, I can say that I'm going to build 20 classroom. And if my project doesn't do any latrines, I don't need to check this activity. So basically, for each activity, you have to select also the indicator, and for each indicator that you select, you will get the overall target for the sector for this indicator, and you have a box to specify what would be your target for your project. So the project target should be lower than the planned target. It doesn't mean either to put 1,600 because maybe you have other actor and there is a need of coordination within the sector to decide what would be the repartition between each actor for the targeting. So this is for the overall target. Then below, as you can see, there is a possibility to provide the detailed information by admin 2 here. So here we have a framework from education where we know where they want to implement the different where they want to build the different schools. So you can also be precise and put your project target for each department, for each indicator. Once you have selected your different activities and indicators and targets, you have to make sure that you go through both sectors. Here I should have something. If I don't do that, I should get an error message. The error message tells you that a value is missing for indicator 1.2. It should be this one. Here you can see I selected the indicator. I miss the value. So either I need to put something or either I uncheck because I don't want to align on this indicator. Finally, the last information that is required when you submit a project is the cost. So here you can put the total amount of the project, and then you have let's remove this. You have the possibility to propose and to specify a breakdown of the cost of the project cost, for instance, in terms of support, in terms of in-kind assistance, etc., etc. And you just need to make sure that the total amount or the percentage of repartition will be equal to 100%. So let's say logistics, tech, in-kind assistance, you put tech. So when it's in red, that means it's not good until you get something in green where you have 100%. Sometimes it happens that if I do 33, 34, even if I have 100%, the total amount is less than 1 million. So you need to readjust the budget here to make sure that you reach the same amount that is here. You can add as many lines as you want, but again, this is for coordination purpose and for validation purpose. Is not a real project proposal, so you don't need to go into too much into details for your project budget. When you select several sector and you have a multi-sector project, you must provide the repartition, the breakdown between each sector. In my case, I have education and nutrition projects. I have to provide the repartition between education and nutrition. So here I put 50-50, but it could be something like 75 and 25. And the system will automatically calculate the proportion for each. If you don't want to play with proportion, you just need to play with the figures directly. Let's say that I know I will do 300,000 for education and 700,000 700,000 for nutrition. So just make sure if it's red, there is a problem with the calculation. If it's green, that means it's good and okay. You have the good breakdown with 100% of or the calculation which is aligned with your project cost. I think that's it. Then when you save, you go to the review section, and the review section is just all the information that you already save. You cannot modify anything here. This is a read-only form, but if you notice any problems, you just go back in the section where you want to modify the information. And once you are happy with that, you can submit your project for review, and sector in charge of the validation will get the end to review your project and to either reject, validate, or return for edit. One last thing that we discussed during the presentation, it's about the comment tool. If you go up on the top of the form, you have here the status of your project. So here it's not submitted. I will show you just after that I can submit it and the status will change. And you can also click on the small bubble here where you will be able to submit. Here is my comment to nutrition. And you will have a little number appearing in the bubble. So it means there are comments within the bubble. So the comments could be from the partner to the sector, or it could be from the sector to when they want to return a project for edit, they can specify what will be the problem for the what will be the problem of the project for the partner. So I guess it's better to use also email, phone calls, etc. But this is an internal tool that could be interesting to use if well known. And then regarding the status, so here it's where you can see your status of a project. If I finally submit my project for review, I will get a message saying that my project is submitted. And when I go back to the initial interface of the project module, you see that my test project, which is here, is submitted to plan. So you can see the current status. And if you want to see that within your project file, you will get here, submitted to plan. And in case where you want to unsubmit the project, you can click to unsubmit. Click on the status and you can decide what you want to do to this project. I think this is more tools for the sector and the people in charge of validation than to you, but I think you should be able to see a few things on your hand. I think it's more or less what I wanted to show you today. I go back to the presentation. Up. One last thing, we will organize Q&A session during all the period of project submission. So that means during the next 4-5 weeks. For now, it's planned to be each Wednesday and Friday afternoon from 3:30 to 3:30. You will have one slot. Keep informed. We will do a wide communication through OCHA and through all the sector to provide you the details and the link to connect to this session. There is no need to participate to each of these sessions. This session will be only for people who have technical problems who still need to have clarification regarding their project submission, clarification or help on the interface, etc. They can connect, they have the question, and then once they have the answer, they can leave. So it doesn't mean that you need to spend 2 times a week, 1 hour for each session. You just come when it's needed. You submit your question. We help you, support you, and then everybody can go back to their normal and daily work. I will stop here. Thank you very much for your participation, and we still have 15 minutes, I think, for the questions. So please don't hesitate, and let me give you first the possibility to activate your microphones. Autoriser le micro. And participants. Okay, we have Hilam, please.
Good afternoon, Remy, Bibian, and all colleagues. Just a small piece of advice to benefit to the maximum from those technical Q&A sessions. Please try to work on or to try the upload of your projects as early as possible so that you can have enough time to ask as many technical questions as needed and to have the needed information before the closure of the window. Just make sure not to leave everything till the last moment. Just a small piece of advice. Thank you all.
Thank you, Hilam. We have Atenga Roy.
Oh.
Yes, we
Hello,
can hear you.
everybody. Thank you so much for the presentation. It has been very enriching. My question comes into the place of selecting the organization, automatically selecting the organization. Last year, our organization's name was not on the list, and we tried to do the registration. And to this year, still the name has not been updated on the list. So I don't know how we are supposed to fill that out because they sent a form for us. We have filled the form, but our name is still not appearing on the list of organizations.
Okay, thank you very much for this question. Very important indeed. Let me go back to a new project. So usually your organization should be there. For instance, if I write OCHA, I should see myself here. If I write, I don't know all the organization, I know only the international one like IRC. When you write that down, the few characters of your organization, acronyms or full name, you should get your organization here. If you do not have any result of your organization, you don't appear here, you have the possibility to, let me put that in English, to use a form here, which is the organization registration request. You have to provide several information, and then once it's submitted, it should be sent to someone in HQ who is taking care of the database of reference for the organization to create you. So please contact OCHA and contact me bilaterally. We will review that to see what happened, why you don't appear it. Usually when it could happen that there is a mistake somewhere or someone forgot to put your organization in the system, or sometimes it could be linked that they consider that you shouldn't be part of that. It's happened. It doesn't make sense because if you're already there and you participate to this session, that means you are part of the coordination mechanism. So we will make sure that you are part of that. So please send me an email. I'm going to put my details in the chat here, or I guess you already have it. Please send me an email, and we will review that together to make sure that your organization name will be added to the list, and you will not be left behind for this process of submission.
Okay, thank you.
Next question will be Adi or Hilary.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. It was an amazing training. Though we've been introduced regularly, I think this is the fourth time we are attending this training as Hadi. I just want to ask, could we have a data that shows local partners who have been funded through this system? Our projects have been selected, I think, twice. It has shown selected twice. I think the first time they wrote us and said we didn't have capacity. And I think this is 5 years now in the conflict, and we've been trained in so many aspects still by UN agencies and international organizations. And it was also recently selected last year, but until now we don't have any feedback. So please, to be honest, as personally and also as an organization, especially talking with other local partners, I think that the system is not realistic. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Could we have data that shows local partners who have been funded through this system, so that we know that where we are submitting our project is a real system and it's void of bias and void of some kind of politics, etc. This is important. I'm Hilary Chin. I'm asking this. This has been in my mind for a very long time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for this question. So we saw, if I go back here, in the general comments that we have, where was it? Where is it? Okay, each partner. I don't remember where I put that. Okay, participating in the process does not guarantee that you will be funded. So it could happen that your project is selected. And if you want to see that, maybe for 2022, I can give you the link here in the chat. If you don't know, there is FTS, which is a global platform to monitor all the funding for all the countries in the world where you have the details for the funding for each project. First, try to see if you see your project in the list, and then it's not because your project has been validated and is part of the HRP that is going to be funded. For instance, this year the HRP is funded at 35%. So 35%, that means we still have 65% of funding which is missing, with many projects which are not funded. Regarding your question for local partners and local actors, there is a current group on localization who is working as well on that to see what we can do to improve and have a better funding for all local partners. So this is out of my scope of the training today, but just to let you know that things are ongoing to have a better funding for all local partners, but everything is linked together in terms of process, new process to put in place, new regulation, new policies that we try to put in place with all together. I hope it will answer your question. And then we have to Charles again.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Remy. Good afternoon, everyone. Just in line with the FTS, I just wanted, as I mentioned on the chat, the need to encourage partners to always report their funding through the FTS, because even during the beginning of the framework, the strategic framework that we do for or yearly, we realize it's kind of very difficult if you want to measure the funding. We want to actually ascertain how maybe the clusters are being funded. Is very, very difficult to do that if they are not reporting their funding at the level of the FTS. Other platforms are being put in place, but because we realize that it's difficult to constrain maybe partners to report through the FTS, but it's not yet sufficient. So it's very, very important that we encourage, or we should be encouraged to report our funding at the level of the FTS. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you for the remark. Very important indeed to be transparent and to report all the funding flux. Next question will be for Abdoulali Blaftou. No, we will take the next one then. Kema Tabou.
Good evening, everyone. This is Hawa Abdullahi of Plateau. So I wish to find out, as the other panelists will say, to know which actually organizations are selected for funding, because we don't really know, because I don't know whether our organization is among those organizations, because I actually don't really know. That's why I also wanted to find out. Thank you, sir.
I'm not sure I understand the question regarding the selection. You mean to know who can participate and submit a project, or you mean when you submit the project, if your project has been approved?
No, we wanted to find out who can submit the project.
Sorry, I didn't hear. There is a lot of noise behind you.
Remy, her question is related to which organization, or who are the organizations entitled to submit their projects through this module.
Okay. Thank you. So it should be all organizations, all actors, all humanitarian actors, and all actors participating in the coordination mechanism. Yeah, that is the most wide definition that I could give. I don't have more to say. Then it will be up to the sector anyway to decide what will be the project to select and to select. So usually when actors and partners participate to the coordination mechanism, they should know if they are entitled or not to submit their project, because they participate, so they can follow, they are part of the mailing list, so they should know about ongoing work with that. So I guess it will answer the question. We have Kema Tabo.
Yes, sir. Okay, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Good day to everyone. This is Kema Tabot from EBDA. I want to thank OCHA for this module training for project submission. Yes, I just want to be clarified on the GAM, the gender age marker. You talk about disabilities related. Please, I need to be clarified there. Disabilities is just too vague. It's just too broad. It's just too broad. I think if they can limit it to certain categories of disabilities, so that when we are submitting our projects, we know that we are working with these particular categories of disabilities. Thank you.
Bibiane?
Remy, can I answer to this question?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's true that the disability is, there are so many disabilities, and but in the module you can choose if you are working with any disability, of any kind of people living with disability, you can just click that you are working with this population. I hope it is clarified.
Is it okay, Kema? Kema Tabo? Okay, I don't know. We can move on to the next one. It was Loveline.
Okay, thank you. Good day to everyone. I just have maybe a comment, a reaction to someone's question. There are two persons who asked questions on which organizations have been funded, which local organizations have been funded in the past, that can we share a database to ensure that they are sure of the process. I want to say I'm coming from child protection background, and we always have this question. I think this is a platform where the projects are uploaded. Once it goes through the process, when your project is being funded, the agency will contact you, as well as donors can contact you directly. There are some projects that have been funded in the far north from local organizations that I know of, but for the Northwest, I'm still new, I can know. And I think, like Remy said, that the working group on localization is working hard to see. I think we are encouraging every local organization to post a project. But now follow your cluster. You belong to which cluster? Ensure that the project is well written. If you need support, contact your cluster and they will give you support. As well as some of us also will give you support. Because when the project is not approved, it's because it was not well written. Some people will take all the indicators for the sector because they don't even know which are the indicators, take all the target which has been decided because they are not in the cluster meetings. That's just what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavine. Then we have the last two questions, Josephine and Liliane.
Thank you very much, Remy. This is Josephine from CBC Health Services. One of the questions was already asked, and I was really so happy because Tabot asked that question. It's about disability inclusion. CBC Health Services is one of those organizations that champions disability inclusion in Cameroon. And our concern has always been with the fact that disability indicators are just always globalized. If there is a way of separating, we have visual impairment, we have physical impairment, we have hearing impairment, and the rest, psychosocial impairment, it will be fine. And we can also be able to have that broken down into each age as well. It will really help also that the reporting can show the numbers that are benefiting or accessing humanitarian aid. The other question I was going to ask is if I'm going to change the contact person on the portal list for CBC, for instance, because maybe they are no longer available, what do I do? How do I change so that I can be like the lead person or another person can be the lead person? Because we have people leaving one post of responsibility to another and they are not available. Thank you, and over.
Thank you for that. Let me check something. I know there is a tool to transfer a project to a new owner. This is something new for 2023. Let me check. Clonage de projet, planifier la visibilité. No, it's not this. So I will have to check again. So please, when what you can do is make sure that your project is created by the correct focal points. Add the two contacts in the form of the for the project. So let's take here. So you can put the different contacts. So this is just filled within the database. So it will not link anything with your account. But then you should be able to see anyway your project with the button My Organization in Country Project. If you both are in the same organization, you should be able to visualize and to modify the project from your colleague. If it's not the case, you will come back to us when the problem will come, and we will figure out at that time how to redirect the project to the new owner. I know that is possible. I never done that before. It's a totally new feature for the system. So yeah, we can see that bilaterally. Regarding the question on disability, disaggregation reporting, it's work ongoing. As you know, there is all these things that we are going, like the gender marker for the project. We just want to shift the mindset of people to make sure that they take into account this kind of aspect of gender marker, but as well on disability. All the tools that we prepare for reporting, like the 5W, like any kind of specific tool from, I believe, for RRM or for the MSNA, I believe there is always a focus when we do data collection that will take into account the specific needs or specific group of people with disabilities or a specific group of people depending on their status, etc., etc. So we know that it's always not enough because in terms of analysis, often we don't know, we don't have all the details for this kind of information, but it takes time. When you look at the reporting tool and what the partner can provide to the different sectors and to OCHA, often we have to push for it, that we request information, and often the partners have a lack of capacity or lack of resources to be able to collect all the information, because collecting a lot of information takes time, and the time is money in terms of staffing, because if you go for a data collection in the field, you will need more time and more staff to do the job. So collecting data and more detailed information takes a lot of resources, but more and more we try to have and to be very accurate in all the analysis and the data collection that we are doing. So the only thing we can do is to continue to have this all the recommendation, to participate to the different session when we review a tool, for instance, for the MSNA or for the DTM. I know that they do some session when each sector has to review their tool and the form to make sure that is aligned with the needs of information. So all these kind of things we try to take into account at the maximum, the people with disabilities or any other specific aspects for information. And I will take the last question from Lilian, and then we will stop the session for today. We are already 10 minutes. Oh, maybe Vivian, did you want to add something?
Yes.
Okay, just
Please.
maybe to appreciate OCHA for the
Lilian,
wonderful
please
job.
wait.
Yeah.
Vivian
Hi,
is
everyone.
going to add something. Vivian.
Hi,
first.
everyone.
Yes, I just wanted to add that your feedback are helping to improve the tool. So thank you for your feedback. And also in the GAM, you see that there are spaces that are that where you can fill all details information. If you have any deep analysis on the target you have, you can put it in those empty spaces that are prepared for that. And when somebody wants to see the specificities of your project for each group, he can go to your GAM project and see all your specificities, even if in the prepared question you don't have all the breakdown of the specificities of groups. Thank you.
Super. Thank you, Vivian, for this information. And sorry, Lilian. Now I will give you the. Please activate your microphone. Okay.
Just to thank OCHA for this wonderful opportunity, and Remy, it has really been great. It's a thrilling exercise. As we do is adding its voice to one of the speakers. For the past 3-4 years, we've had approved projects and not funded. You've tried to explain it's good, but I just wish to add my voice that we actually will appreciate if more funding goes to the local organizations, because we are doing quite a lot on the field. And I think just some basic funding going to these organizations with approved projects will really motivate, because our expectations are high. Hoping every year, we keep hoping that the approved projects may yield some fruits. So it's just to add my voice that you should think of more strategies so that local partners who have approved projects should have access to the funds, especially those of us from the Northwest region. Thank you so much. We are very hopeful and anticipating for better days. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will let maybe Hilam to answer. I just need to say it's not a matter to access the funding. The funding is not something like, oh, we try to avoid or whatever. There is a process ongoing on localization, and it's something taken very seriously in Cameroon, because even all the people from the HCT recently participated to a workshop on a 6 times 2 hours session for a workshop, and to have brainstorming for people to decide how we can do, what we can improve, etc., etc. But in terms of access, it's not a matter that there is money, and then it's the money is there, and organizations are taking it, and there is nothing left for the local partners. It's the responsibility for each partner to go to see a donor to get the money. So when we see HRP project funding, etc., is not something that there is money already there and we decide to split that. It's all organizations who get funding. Usually they go to see directly the donor with their proposal, and they get funded directly with the donor. So you can add what you said, your voice, to raise a problem, but there is also something to go and see with the donors directly, because at our level, we wait the same. I mean, often, especially with the sector, we can see that there is underfunding for the different sectors. We can see underfunding in terms of IM capacity, in terms of coordination. So it's at all levels that there is funding missing, and we understand that the organization, the type of organization who has less will be the local actors. So yeah, we are aware of that. We will try, I guess. I'm not the best person to speak about it, but for sure with the localization working group, there will be recommendation and implementation of recommendation ongoing for next year. And I let Hilam to add something, and then we will conclude the training for today.
Thank you very much, Remy, and thank you, Lilian. In fact, we do believe in you as OCHA, and it's part of our strategy, the localization, because we do trust and we do believe in the local NGOs. But unfortunately, what we do under our mandate, which like one of the pillars of our mandate is humanitarian financing or humanitarian funding. It's we do not like direct funds to certain partners differently than the others. From our side as OCHA, we work at the advocacy for the whole humanitarian response plan. we do not really have our preferences, and it's totally out of our control. First of all, we can help, we can support all the partners to come up with the best proposal that have better chances for approval and then for being funded. But after that, or beyond this stage, the first stage is the assessment of the proposal by the clusters or by the sectors, and like for those proposals to be validated and then published under our humanitarian response plan. The next stage is our advocacy for the whole plan, not for specific projects or specific sectors or clusters or for specific partners. We cannot do that. And it's let's consider it as a tool of advocacy for you, for your organizations, and for your ideas and projects that can feed into the overall humanitarian response of 2023. This will give you more added value when you communicate with potential donors and explain your proposals and your projects, and have the fact that this was part of the HRP 2023. It was approved by the relevant cluster, and therefore it's really feeding into meeting the needs of the population for this year as prospected. We would like to add our voice also to yours, because we are really advocating for the localization and for more involvement and more funding for the local partners. Let's be optimistic, and if we don't succeed the first time, we definitely will succeed after. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hiram. And I will conclude the training here. I think we have taken many questions. Don't worry if you have extra question, or if we miss some question, you will have other opportunities to come and join the Q&A session the Wednesday and Friday for the next 4 or 5 weeks. You will receive the links soon. So please follow up with your sectors and with OCHA for the next step. And good luck with the project submission. And we will be here to support you as much as possible. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening, everyone. And goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Mimi. Bye.
Thanks so much and
Thanks a lot.
goodbye. Thanks and goodbye.
Bye, Remy.